Good day, dear colleagues. And first of all, let me thank the organizers of this event of the NetGlow 2020 for providing us the opportunity at least to share the knowledge and to share the experience via this way, via internet and videos. And tell you that for me it's such a pity to not to hear you in person, not to interact with you directly, but still I hope that this will be a good opportunity for us at least to share the ideas and to interchange our views on what we are doing now. My name is Deniza, and I'm representing the Management Development Institute of Singapore in Tashkent, Uzbekistan, where we conducted with my two research team members, Akmal Ali and Otabek Abdubositov. We conducted a research about influence of university groups formation on academic performance. First of all, let me introduce you a bit our country so you will understand the background. The Uzbekistan is a post-Soviet country that is located in Central Asia, and our population is around 33 million. The literacy rate, according to different sources, is almost 100%. And annual cost that is spent on education by the government reaches around 10–12% of GDP, depending on the age and depending on the year. The universities that we have here now are gaining more and more popularity, and the university sector is boosting. We have 74 local universities and their subsidiaries, and 7 international universities that are operating here. We are expecting that around 3 or 4 more international universities will be open next academic year. So as you can see, the university education is growing and the sector is kind of developing now. In total, all the universities are covering 174 areas of education, starting from medicine, economy, politics, philosophy, languages. So lots and lots of areas that we are covering, and now we have more innovative areas also, like IT technology, artificial intelligence, and so on. We decided to study the academic performance and the factors that influence on academic performance of our students. We have different proofs from different research that show that actually academic performance can be influenced by different factors. In general, what we study are those. We have the demographic variables, we have cultural background that can impact hugely. We have economic factors, like for example, the level of income of the family, the quantity of money that could be spent to the education, and also, of course, the economic factors like in the country, in the whole. On the other hand, we have psychological factors. Is the person ready to study? Or, for example, here we can include also the character, the personal features, and the influence of background of parents. Because as you know, or at least as you may know, the background of parents also influences quite a lot on academic performance and on the way the person perceives education. And it's very interesting because in this case, the mother's background is more important than the father's one. Then we have, of course, the level of absenteeism. Usually, and it's logical, students who do not attend different modules or different subjects in the university, they do not show kind of high level of academic performance. Because in many cases, we are too lazy, or in many cases we are procrastinating. Therefore, for us, it's difficult to make ourselves study without somebody who can guide us, without somebody who can make us do this. The other factor that can influence are extracurricular activities, but here we have to make sure that those activities are not taking the time, like the whole time from the student. Because in some cases, if extracurricular activities, they are just using the whole time that the students has, the whole time, this effort that the students put there. For example, in case of sports, we can see the decrease in academic performance. But if we have this balance between extracurricular activities that help people to relax, maybe, or to just change the environment, to change the chip, let's say so, and the studies, so this balance, if it's constantly preserved, can help us to increase the academic performance. And last but not least factor that was studied by the researchers is the peer influence. We always say that peers are very important, and in case of students or in case of people who work even, peers usually spend more time with the person than the family members. Therefore, the peer influence is quite important, and that's why we decided to study and to analyze specifically this case, the case of influence of peers on academic performance of students. Our objectives were, as you can see, those four. First of all, we wanted to study the changes in group formation that occurred during all 4 years of studies of our participants. Then, we wanted to identify key actors in last year's student social networks and their relationship with university groups where ego is present. The third objective was to understand better last year's student social networks composition. From different types of relations, we tried to measure both formal and informal ones. And finally, we wanted to identify different problems that last year's students might have faced in relation with their group formation. To do so, we created a questionnaire that was done in 3 different languages, in Russian, Uzbek, and English. And the questionnaire was online. We distributed it among participants, so the participants were able to choose the language and to fill out the questionnaire that was more comfortable for them to understand. The questionnaire first was created in Russian, and then we used the native speakers to proofread the other 2 versions. We decided to go for 3 types of questionnaire because first of all, we conducted the research in 2 different universities. The one university is local, where the studies are conducted in Russian and Uzbek. And the second university is international, where the studies are conducted in English. Therefore, we thought that for some students, it will be even easier to fill out the questionnaire in English because they are more used to do something in English, to study in English, etc. The questionnaire consisted of 4 different parts. We had demographic characteristics of participants where we measured the basic ones like the gender, the age, and from what university this person is coming, from local or from international. Then we asked people to give us the list of 45 elders with their names or with their pseudonyms and indicate, are those people members, currently members of the group where the ego is present in the university or no, and are they still studying together in the same university? So our point was that among the elders were only people who currently or who previously were in the same group in the same university where Igor is studying. Then we asked to create the matrix of relationship between those 45 people to understand, do they know each other, do they hang out together, or do they just, I don't know, hate each other? We wanted to measure this. And finally, we asked to list different critical incidents that are related with student social network composition, or they could potentially be related with this. We didn't put kind of limits. We just asked people to provide information, and then us, the researchers, we were analyzing is there any relationship between the composition and the critical incident or no. So the data collection was conducted, as I already told you, between the representatives of 2 universities located in Tashkent. One group was formed by 128 people from local university, and the second one from the other group of people, 136 from international university. Both groups were last year bachelor students, and both groups were studying more or less the same major, economy or management or business. From international university, the proportion of males is a bit lower among the participants. It's around 58%. And from local university, the proportion is a bit higher. It's around 64%. Here you can see the difference in network composition that we could find in case of comparing the networks of people from local universities and people from international universities. On the left, we have the example of network of a person who's coming from local university. The blue dots are alters that are still members of the same group where the person is studying. The red ones are still present in the university, but they have changed the group, or even maybe they have changed the measure, but still they are present in the university. In case of international university, you can see that the number of red dots is a bit higher, and we could see this in all the cases that we analyzed in international university. So in international university, the ratio of people who are not part of the same group where Igor is studying is higher in comparison with local university. Why we decided to compare specifically the local university and international one? In Uzbekistan, usually the students are not changing their group during all 4 years of the bachelor study. This is what happened historically in local universities. You can change the group only if something happens, or if you decide to change your measure, or if you, I don't know, you don't like your group. So you can change it. But usually the administration is not the force who is making students to change the group. In case of international universities, it's different. From the beginning, international universities, they are following the policy where students starting from the first year, well, after the first year of the studies, they are changing the group. The main idea here is if the student is changing the group constantly each year, so during all 4 years of the study, it will be at least 3 times, it will make him learn more about how to communicate with different people, and it will create more widespread rate of contacts. And actually, the results of our study prove that this policy is kind of effective. Here you can see the average change that was experienced. In local university, you can see that the percentage of people who experienced change after first course, second, and the third one is lower, is several times lower in comparison with international university. In international university, we do not have the first course. Usually we have foundation year studies, but still it counts like a first course. And you can see that after foundation year, the change experienced by students is higher than after other 2 years. Why it is happening? Because usually in foundation year, students, they are just studying English, math, foundation of IT, or foundation of business, of economics, etc. And then after completing foundation year studies, they are choosing their major. Therefore, the change that is experienced by them in terms of the group composition is quite higher than in other years. We also tried to measure how many close friends, or at least people who our ego considers to be close friends, are present in the network in local university and in international university. You can see that actually the difference is not huge. In both cases, our egos probably they had this characteristic to be open, and therefore more or less 50% of participants of alters in their networks, they are close friends for our egos. In terms of the level of basic network measures, for example, if we analyze the average degree in all the networks, in case of local university, the average degree is higher, and in case of international university, it's lower. We thought that probably we can explain this again by the constant change of the group's composition, because in international university, our participants, in many cases, they have shown that they have networks that are composed by different groups that they created in foundation year, that they created in the second year and the third year, etc. And in some cases, there were no too many links between those groups. So the main link between those groups, the main bridge, let's say so, was our ego. That's why we can say that on the one hand, it shows that in international university, people have a variety of alters that are present in different groups and that have probably different background. In local university, the alters usually are more connected between each other, because usually they are the same people who started studies together and who continue till the fourth year. That's why the difference is so huge. As we are measuring academic performance, we decided to do this type of analysis. We took 4 modules, 4 subjects that were studied by our students from local universities and from international university, and we compared the scores that they got or the marks that they got for those modules. We can see that in case of international universities, usually the grades are higher, probably because they are using different technology of teaching, they are using different approach to teaching. But also, the other thing that could influence is the composition of networks. We think that the approach that is used to teaching doesn't play such a big role like it could be, because we tried to control the teachers, the professors who are teaching in those universities. In both cases, in case of local one and in case of international one, we have international faculty that usually use more or less the same approach to teaching. They are not like stuck with presentations. They usually like to create discussions in the class, and they usually try to interact with students. Even in some cases, we had the same professors who taught both the same subject in both local and international university. So we tried to control this variable of quality of teaching, and therefore we think that peer influence and the influence of composition of the network played a huge role in terms of academic performance. The diverse network in international university probably helped better our students to adapt or to adjust maybe the knowledge and guarantee this flow of knowledge between the students. In local university, people are more centered in their group and people are more concentrated on what their group could provide them. And therefore, I guess, and our conclusion is like this, that therefore probably in local university, the academic performance could be a bit lower. In case of critical incident analysis, we can see that we have retrieved 114 critical incidents that were relevant to the case study. 86 of them, or the majority, were provided by international university students. From our point of view, it was logical, because as you know, or as you already have seen, in international university, the composition of networks is constantly changing. Therefore, we could expect that the rate of critical incidents will be higher here. And the majority of students, almost 73% of them, they reported problems after the first group change. That happened after foundation year, or that happened after first course in the local university. So we can say that people were not just ready probably for this change. Therefore, there were problems, there were some kind of depressions, because students were not ready to lose the friends that they already got during their foundation year studies and to adapt to new reality. But after this experience, the majority of students did not have any critical incident, or at least they couldn't recall any critical incident related to network composition changes in other years of the study. We do understand that our study has some limitations. Of course, we have the limited representation. Our students were coming from 2 universities, and as I have mentioned, we have more of them in the country. So probably the reaction to group changes or the reaction to composition of the group itself can be different. Of course, our problem is that the study is not longitudinal, and for us, it will be quite interesting to start monitoring the students from the first year of the studies till the 4th one, to understand the whole picture of the relations that they have throughout the years, and to understand how those relations really influence on academic performance. What we have found here just created the basis for our future research, because we wanted to make sure that we can do this. We wanted to make sure that we will have access to data and that we will have people who would like to participate. And we have got the preliminary results of the influence of composition of the networks on the academic performance. So among us, we actually call this study like a pilot study that created the basis for future research for us. The other thing that we would like to do is to create aggregated graphs for local university and for international university, and to compare different indicators there. We are in the process, so hopefully soon you will see it in any other publication or in any other conference, because we do expect the results to be kind of interesting. So our conclusion will be as follows. Thanks to our study, we have found that the participants, the students with more heterogeneous networks, they showed higher grades levels. They showed better academic performance. And we think that this diversification in their social network, in framework of the university, it can influence on students' conduct and information exchange between the groups. And we know that the more information we get, or the more we exchange the information, the better quality we can reach. Therefore, we think that in our case, the international university students, they have proven that the policy of changing the group's composition throughout the years of studies can be a good policy. It helps to increase the way people think. It helps to, let's say, change the way people gain knowledge, and it influences on students' conduct. Thank you very much. I hope you found it interesting. And in case you have any further questions, or probably you have any suggestion of what we could add to our study or what we could change in our study, please feel free to contact me, and I will be really glad to have your feedbacks. So thank you very much.